Okay. I'll do, right? I'll do. Okay. Okay. Let's go. Ahem. Proper height, baby. There we go. Chapter 13. Stephen. A meeting with public relations. It was like I was being summoned to the principal's office. I'd gotten the call early in the morning. Barely. Fuck. We made it a couple of sentences. Hooray! I'd barely gone to sleep after returning from home. I'd barely gone to sleep after returning home from a wild and wonderful night when I'd been summoned to the team's set of offices. Instead of going through the arena's entrance, I parked around to the side in hopes of avoiding any press. At least there hadn't been any paparazzi parked outside Tony's place. I had a feeling if there had been, he would have tossed my shit on the street by now. Today had been my only day off for a while, which was one reason why being summoned to a meeting didn't thrill me. Especially since I had a new group of people eager and ready to tell me all the things I did wrong on social media. I'd posted a couple of innocuous pictures I'd found, trying to avoid anything remotely sexual. But the comments hadn't stopped when I'd left Philly. Some were nice, some were not so nice. Now, a few Tampa residents had decided to make me Now, a few set of Tampa residents had decided to make destroying my reputation a quick and easy game for themselves. The truth was, I couldn't give a shit about Facebook and Instagram. I had an account for years, and I had a few followers, but I'd never really cultivated the environment. I'd been too busy playing the game. I'd barely managed to grab a shower before leaving the house. With my hair wet and wearing a wrinkled... I don't have any fucking hair. It kind of drives me crazy when I narrate somebody with a beautiful head of hair and then I just go like, fucking cool. Been listening to you for a while, and to be honest, I found it to be very boring indeed. Hey, thank you, David. Hey, go anywhere else but here, my boy. Anywhere else but here. Mwah. Thanks for existing, I think. Mwah. Turn it up, dude. Put the headphones on and turn it up high. All right, let's go back to the beginning. With my hair wet and wearing a wrinkled pair of jeans and a t-shirt, I knew I looked so... fuck. I knew I looked a sorry sight, but I hadn't even taken the time to hang up my clothes. Now, why bother? I just need to pack them once again. There you are. The assistant coach was almost as gruff as Coach Braxton, but he'd come up through the ranks over the years and knew what it felt like to be a player caught in a crossfire. He'd been forced to step down from a prominent position a decade before, after being caught in bed with the wife of the team's owner. I remembered the scandal, something my father had used as a teaching mechanism. Don't fuck around. His 3 words. At least they were ones I remembered. Yeah, I'm here. A rough night? He asked, as he motioned me toward his fuck. He asked, as he motioned me, Let's try this again. What's up, Pen? Shots back at him. What up? Welcome. He asked, as he motioned me toward his office. Nothing I couldn't handle. The way he was looking at me meant it was possible one of the team members had seen me with Christine. If anyone talked, I'd kick their ass. Get some coffee. Does that mean I'm going to need it, Coach Parker? Love good bloopers. I'm fucking full of them. Speaking of, I need to add Coach Parker to my list here. Character voices, quabam. He's a gruff boy. There we go. Erica, good morning. Welcome. Okay, here we go. Back at it. First of all, call me Bobby, for God's sake. My father's still a coach and he wouldn't like it if I was confused with him. Oopsies, let's say the words. You don't know Ansley yet. She's tough, and there might be a bit of a crisis. Crisis? What does that mean? He scratched his beard, more stressed than I'd seen him before. Let's allow Ansley to handle this. Great. Why did I have a terrible feeling about the events from the night before? Well, he's out fooling around. You like big butt and says Hunter Stonier-Smith. Hey, thanks for existing. I appreciate that. We'll pray for you or some shit. We'll try. Let's try this. Any hints how to handle her? Just agree. She's good at what she does, and from what I understand, you need a little help in the social media department. While I wasn't much of a coffee drinker, on this morning I needed a little pick-me-up. I was dragging my ass something fierce. By the time I made it back to his office, a projector had been set up. Oops. Wow. Dude, you lick says Hunter Stonier-Smith. Hey, once again, thanks for existing. Try going existing in the middle of a busy street. We would appreciate that. It'd be good for you. Help stretch you out, you know what I mean? My bubba. Alright, let's scroll. Kyle Wheatley. Oh, my lord. Oh, my Lanta. Welcome, the great bowler. So he thinks he can golf, but he's trying. Mine are still more bloopers than not. I'm happy when I can read more than 2 sentences in a row, I'll be honest with you. Today I feel like my brain's operating on 1.5 brain cells, so we'll fucking figure it out, you know what I mean? Okay, we set the projector up. These are good things. It had been set up. A screen already pulled, and there were whiteboards near his desk. Mr. Masters, please take a seat. Her voice was crisp, cold, and calculating. I don't know what I'd expected, but while a tiny woman, barely standing 5 foot tall, her voice packed a punch. I had a feeling she was a take-no-shit kind of woman. Maybe there was something in the water. While I sat down, my thoughts drifted to Christine. I'm Ansley Adams. We met the other day. I forgot to add you. I'm Miss Ansley. We're going to copy that. We're going to go to our characters. We're going to duplicate. We are going to rename. We are going to add her. We're straightforward. Straightforward kind of gal. Whabam. What's up, Anna? Welcome. She didn't offer her hand for a shake, nor did she smile. In fact, her eyebrows were knitted together as if she was disgusted with what she was seeing. Self-conscious, I looked down at my clothing. Let's go. Leave it in. Only then did I realize I'd found mismatched socks. Oopsies. Only then did I realize I'd found mismatched socks. Great. I must look like some disheveled idiot. If she was all of 22 years old, I'd be surprised. But her button-down shirt, under a crisp, boring suit, reaffirmed she was a take-no-shit kind of girl. Yes, ma'am, we did. What can I do for you? I see you once broke a reporter's jaw for annoying you. She tipped her head, her expression droll. He had a microphone in my face and refused to back off, even after I told him 3 times. So you broke his jaw. Shrugging, I tried to act as if the event had been no big deal. He had it coming. I see, she breathed. And the naked girl's all over several posts from a few weeks ago? Hey, I don't control what they do. My answer hung in the air with silence following. Are you aware your social media accounts are atrocious? Well, she didn't mince words, just like someone else I knew. I've been a little too busy to worry about them. Well, you need to start. Those issues aside, you have a measly 10,000 followers on your Instagram, no TikTok account, and let's not discuss the atrocity that's your Facebook account. Obviously, you don't pay attention because it's apparently been hacked. Zamora, welcome. Hacked? I was just on it the other day, although for the first time in a little while. She grumbled under her breath while flicking on a projector. Oops, let's say the right words here. She grumbled under her breath while flicking on the projector. She found my page, showing a hot sports car first, then another one. Then another. I could clearly tell she was exasperated. What is this? They're mine. I mean, I don't own the cars. I just posted them because I liked them. See, I have a Trans Am as well. She looked at me as if I had 2 heads. Well, these are the decent pictures. The one that can be shown to with children in the room. The others? Well, I'm shocked you haven't gotten kicked off Facebook. What are you talking about? Now I was getting annoyed. Perhaps Ansley could tell, which was why the look she gave me was brutal. When she flicked to a series of photos I'd taken after a big win a few months later, my skin started to crawl. Where was this? She demanded. A party after the game, but that was months ago. Uh-huh. A topless party with beer bongs? The tone of her voice had heat building in my face. Cynthia, what's up? Welcome. I was slouching down even further into the seat. I didn't know the girls were going to be there. They just showed up. Like I said, that was months ago. It doesn't matter how long ago they were taken. Haven't you ever heard footprints on the internet are forever? Even more with celebrities. Mr. Word, what's up, B-Coop? Even more so with celebrities. And it certainly doesn't look as if you were bothered by their presence, since you have your tongue stuck down each woman's throat more than once. Ansley was completely exasperated, huffing so hard she blew a strand of hair down from her tight little bun. Okay, I'm sorry. I stopped posting because my old coach said I was doing myself a disservice. They should have advised you to remove the photos altogether. Don't be so hard on him, Ansley. Or on the Philly coach. Just explain the rules, and he promises to do much better. Oopsies. Don't be so hard on him, Ansley. Or on the Philly coach. Just explain the rules and promise fucking Christ. We'll get it. Don't be so hard on him, Ansley. Or on the Philly coach. Just explain the rules, and he promises to do much better. Don't you? Bobby's eyebrows were knitted together out of frustration. Of course, absolutely. A sudden quiet in the room formed, and I didn't like it one bit. Not one. Well, I don't agree. From what I've been told, you're a star. Or at least you might become one. You don't do that kind of shit. Everything is a photo op, and trust me when I say that every time you're out in the public, you need to be thinking about being the star. Now, look at these. Whabam. Okay, we'll redo this in a second. Now, look at these. When were these photos taken? What's wrong with them? They're of the stands and the teams in the first play. And what do you mean you don't agree? That's the issue, Bobby tossed out, tossing Ansley a look that told her to be careful. There's a blackout policy of day games. No social media. Maybe that's not a typical rule in the lower leagues. I glanced at Bobby, who was thoroughly amused by what was going on. Guess not, I quipped, barely avoiding my increasing rage. Charlie Foxtrot, thank you for following. I appreciate that. Welcome. Whatever you say, no more game pictures. She was flipping through photos on the screen so fast I couldn't make them out. Your Instagram is not much better. You need to be posting pictures with fans and of every city you go to. Every game. I'll do what I can with what time I have. This is part of your job, so let's take a look at some of the other items you've been posting for the last 6 months. As soon as she started flicking through the photographs, I slouched in the seat again. She was growing angrier by the minute, especially when seeing the naked girls and the vats of Jell-O. I can explain. Don't bother. I don't want to know. What I need for you to tell me is that you're never going to do any of that nature again. I fucking didn't say the line. What I need for you to tell me is that you're never going to do anything of that nature again. Jell-O, mud, quicksand, I don't care. And you aren't. And you aren't, right? I glanced at Bobby, who was giving me a very stern look. Okay. If you don't comply, then I'll be forced to take over your accounts, and you won't like it when I do. Get it? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I could clearly tell she didn't like to be called ma'am. I had to wonder if her bite was as bad as her glare. Maybe so. Have you not been told that people are out to get you? I almost choked on the coffee as I took a sip, managing to burn the hell out of my hand as I did. What? Out to get the hockey player or... Oopsies. What? Out to get me, the hockey player, or me, the shifter? Both. What now? She threw Bobby a look that told me the two of them had been already discussed. She threw Bobby a look that told me the two of them had already been discussing whatever issue they'd been faced with. Her sigh was heavy and long. What were you doing last night? I do get a personal life, right? You do, she said, as long as you don't break a man's hand while enjoying your downtime. Oh, shit. How much lower in the seat could I go? Oh, shit is right, Bobby intervened. Look, I know it must be difficult with you being a shifter. I also have a feeling being in your brother's shadow isn't necessarily in your best interest either. But you saw how the press crucified him for his behavior. He barely made it out the... What's up, Lisa? He barely made it out unscathed. I think you're well aware there's a double standard, which means you need to be above the law and the basics of humanity. Let's go. And I certainly don't want you to be hounded by the press simply because you're different. Different. I thought about a conversation Saint had told me. I thought about a conversation Saint had told me while he'd had with... I thought about a conversation Saint had told me he'd had with our father not long after the news had been broken about his real identity. Humans live in a fragile state. We can't allow them to know their next-door neighbors and buddies they work with are wolves or bears. God forbid the PTA moms find out their bestie and drink. Oopsies. God forbid the PTA moms find out their bestie they drink Manhattans with every Friday is a leopard. And heaven help us if anyone knew the real identity of the mayor of our lovely city. The mayor of Chicago was a damn line shifter. Even today, most humans had yet to understand just how fragile their hold on the concept of who belonged on Earth truly was. There were shifters of every kind living amongst us. Even we weren't able to tell from afar, although the stench of a lion or a bear was pungent as hell, and we were within oopsies. Although the stench of a lion or bear was pungent as hell, when we were even fucking, what in the world am I trying to say? Okay. Uno momento, por favor. The Archist, welcome back. I'm trying to say a sentence that is trying to decapitate my vocal cords here. Although the stench of a lion or a bear was pungent as hell when we were within a couple 100 yards. Still, they were able to hide their true identities as well as the wolves could do. We would have stayed in the shadows had it not been for one of our own wanting to cash in on his position in the shifter world. He dropped one huge bomb that we hadn't been able to control. So here we were, thousands of shifters still hiding in the closet for fear of being hunted like animals. I was the poster boy of blending in, just like my brother. Were you drunk last night? Because in seeing you today, it would appear you certainly were awake all night long. She put up a picture of the guy from the night before. His hand was in a cast, and he was looking all pitiful. Just like an asshole to play the shifter card when it suited him. I didn't like Ansley's attitude. I wasn't drunk. I barely drink any longer. Why bother telling her that shifters rarely succumb to the effects of alcohol? Then what caused you to almost kill this man? She asked in a way of indicating annoyance, not fear. I didn't almost kill him. I stopped him from groping a young woman. Nothing more. He's lying if he said it was anything else. Why was it that every time shifters were put in a position to defend themselves, the people asking the question always had a particular expression, as if chastising a child or a real criminal? Who was this woman? The question was pointed at oopsies. Tess, welcome. The question, holy fuck. Give me a second here. Uno momento, por favor. Por favor. Handling business right now. Holy shit, do my thumbs work? Okay. The question was pointed, and Ansley expected me to answer. Her body language screamed that no matter what I said, it wouldn't matter. She'd already made up her mind about me. I was a dirty, filthy animal. None of your business. Oh, I see. Just another puck bunny. Great. I told you this was a bad idea. Chillax, and thank you for the follow. Now she was talking to Bobby. She wasn't any puck bunny, I snapped, which silenced the room. I was many things, but not prone to outbursts. She's a nice girl, okay? She was in the arena doing a little skating, and I could tell she was having a hard time, okay? It's not like I have any friends, and I doubt seriously that I'll manage to snag a few. Another moment of silence, and this time I could feel Ansley smirking. I fisted my hand, wondering why I was bothering. Jerking up, I headed to the window, looking outside and instantly remembering Saint talking about the first time he'd peered out a similar window and the number of reporters and protesters hanging around for an off chance at a photographic moment with the hockey star and savage werewolf. The headlines had been brutal for weeks. What did I see when I peered out the window? Two people holding signs. Maybe they'd followed me, maybe they hadn't. Two lone people in festive Hawaiian shirts. There was no doubt in my mind they were tourists checking off an item on their bucket list. Item 557. Get a photo with a flesh-eating monster. And the signs they held? Well, other than a pretty damn good representation of everyone's nightmare of a werewolf, complete with blood dripping down his jowls, were words that would forever stick in my mind. Shifters aren't humans. They have no rights. There it was, the crux of the entire situation. Whether they believed what they had written or not didn't... Ooh, there's a race car outside. Whether they believed what they had written or not didn't matter. There were a few humans... Oops, I put in a whole word there. We'll take that word right back out. There were few humans... Fuck. Can I find my spot? I can't. There it is. There were few humans on our sides, and millions who believed we were out to hunt and feed on our prey. Seeing the couple in Don't Worry, we'll do it all again. There were few humans on our sides, and millions who believed we were out to hunt and feed on our prey. Seeing the couple did infuriate me, but the real reason why was far more human than I cared to admit to anyone. I was fucking jealous my brother had experienced the lavish attention of millions eager... Okay. I was fucking jealous my brother had experienced the lavish... I was fucking jealous my brother had experienced the lavish attention of millions of eager fans. He had puck bunnies lining up, various agents eager and willing to maim, mutilate, or kill each other to garner his signature on a lifetime contract, and enough endorsements he and his lovely mate lived in a lavish... Voice, join me for this bullshit, huh? Contract. And enough endorsements he and his lovely mate lived in a lavish-style Robin Leach... Okay, my dog's barking. Hooray! Delish. Contract. And enough endorsements that he and his lovely mate... Why am I having trouble with this? And enough endorsements he and his lovely mate lived in a lavish style Robin Leach would be jealous of. And here I was sleeping on a twin bed in a shitty house, and I was about to be tossed out on the street while fighting with some chick who hated me about my social media pages. All of it was a distraction from the only thing I'd ever wanted in my life: to play hockey. The only monster in the room was a green-eyed one. "Are you feeling sorry for yourself, Stephen?" Bobby asked. I gotta do that quieter. "Are you feeling sorry for yourself, Stephen?" Bobby asked, his voice so quiet I was surprised. I don't know. Maybe. Well, fucking don't. The woe is me shit isn't going to fly here. You also aren't going to damage arena property. I couldn't help but notice you used your locker as a punching bag. Damn, TikTok is quiet as shit today. You're a professional. You're in the big leagues now, which you fought for since you were a teenager. Did you know I saw you play a few years ago? When I tipped my head, he was smiling. Scroll! Where? You were so damn good you were scooped off your high school team, drafted as a center to play with the University of Chicago. I heard all about you because my agent insisted I go to a game. I did, but I wasn't happy about it. Trust me. He laughed bitterly. Little did I know at the time, but I was about to be put on suspension, and my agent thought I'd get a boost seeing young blood. Oh yeah? What did you think? That you were fucking phenomenal. Just amazing. Anyway, you taught me a few moves that I took back with me. Salvaged my career for a year or so. A thought entered my mind. You were the one who wanted me to come here. You pushed, didn't you? He laughed. I figured one good deed deserved another. You're good, just a little rough around the edges. Upon my recommendation, we took a chance on you when other teams wanted nothing to do with you. Yeah, I get you feel discriminated against because of your lineage. But when you put your mind to the game, you are the best in the business, hands down. Better than my brother? He lifted his eyebrows. Yeah, better than your brother. Don't let that go to your head. You mean because I'm a wolf? I shouldn't have done it, but I growled and even bared my teeth to make a point. My human teeth. Neither shrank away in fear. Well, hell. I couldn't even make anyone terrified. Oopsies. What's up, Paris? I couldn't even make anyone terrified that I'd eat them. What good was I after all? Okay, maybe I had dipped into the feeling sorry for myself pool of quicksand, but I was talented. I worked just as hard as my brother. I deserved a chance. Maybe, but they're right. You're about to blow it because of a pretty oopsies. You're about to blow it because of petty jealousy. My inner voice hadn't been this active for some time. Now, the all-knowing personality decided to rear its ugly head. Yeah, oopsies. Yeah, Masters, because you're a wolf. He rolled his eyes. Now, I can't imagine what it feels like to be treated as if you're going to come unglued at any moment, but you're allowing these people to get to you. Instead of doing your job and feeling like the lucky man you truly are, you're pretending being given this kind of an opportunity means nothing to you. Do you know how many little boys and even girls dream of being in your position? Thousands. And if they're lucky and work really hard and have the talent, something you have in spades, they might get a single chance to prove themselves. The difference between you and those talented kids is that they won't allow anything to stop them from achieving their goals. I turned away from the window, shoving my hands into my pockets. I get it. Have respect for myself and my fans. At least Ansley lit up like a Christmas tree. Exactly. She even clapped her hands. I think we can work together to turn your social media around quickly and build your numbers. I'll also get some candid shots of you during your next practice. We have team photos coming up on Friday, don't we? Bobby nodded. Yeah, since the first game with you and blah 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 blah. Yeah, Since the first game with you as center is on Sunday, the owners want to make certain we cover all media sources on Saturday. Ansley nodded. You're going to need to promise me not to get into bar fights when you go out, beast. I said that so weird. You're going to need to promise me not to get into bar fights when you go out, beast. That's not my name, I insisted. For all practical purposes, it is, she told me. The fighting? I didn't get into one last night, I reminded her, as if she was listening. Maybe you should refrain from going out at all, at least to normal bars. You need to eat, sleep, drink, and think about nothing but hockey. Now it was my turn with Bobby to glance at each other, thoroughly. Now it was my turn with Bobby to glance at each other, thoroughly confused as to what she was getting at. I can do that, but there are abnormal bars? What are you talking about? She rolled her eyes as if I was an idiot. Yes, you know what I mean. Wolf bars. You are a werewolf, right? Was she seriously asking? Stephen is a member of the lycanthrope, is the word I was trying to say. Stephen is a member of the lycanthrope family, or a wolf shifter, Ansley. Stephen is a member of the lycanthrope family, or a wolf shifter, Ansley. The coach had difficulty with his amusement. I didn't bother correcting her. Okay then, when you go out, maybe hit the Wolf Bar. Is there a name of this bar? I threw out, completely disgusted at this point. She blinked several times. That is the name. Oh my God. Now I'd heard it all. Maybe I was more privileged than I thought I was, since there was a huge consternation. Oh my God, concentration is the word I'm looking for. Thought I was. Since there was a huge concentration of various shifters in and around Chicago. Once upon a time, the Midwest had been perfect for hunting food, which was why the numbers had grown significantly. We'd had out-of-town. Oh, God, my God. We'd had our own bars and other playgrounds for 2 decades, even if humans hadn't been aware until recently. Wow, I threw out. How clever. The girl was deep in thought, which allowed me to drift my thoughts toward the amazing evening the night before. I'd left Christine sleeping peacefully instead of waking her. It had been best that way instead of being forced to deal with all the awkward shit after fucking someone. Call or not to call. Date or not to date. Coming clean from the lies or not to come clean. Yeah, I'd chickened out and left. But images of her luscious body and soft lips played out over and over again in my mind. I could still taste her, even after the fucking fuck. I could still taste her, and even after the quick, very hot shower, her scent lingered on my skin. Maybe, she tapped the pen she held in her hands across her lip. Maybe, she tapped the pen she held in her hand across her lip. Fuck! Maybe, she tapped the pen she held in her hand across her lips. What are you thinking? Bobby asked. She turned toward the screen, forcing me to watch as she scrolled through the horrific and graphic pictures of debauchery. Jesus, I got it. I did. Maybe we could use the girl to our advantage. What? The lovely spell was broken. What do you mean, use her? Well, having a girlfriend worked for your brother. We could try that and kill the violent tendencies people think you have. Her eyes opened wide after she realized what she'd just said. I don't mean kill as in literally. I mean to boost your reputation. Not a bad idea, Bobby threw out. Was he fucking kidding me? We wouldn't make it nearly as formal as with Saint. Oopsies. We wouldn't make it nearly as formal as with Saint. Certainly we won't try and parade her around as your fiancée. Who is she? Hold on. I'm not my brother. Hold on. Talk about holding on. Hold on. I'm not my brother, and I refuse to pretend to be in a relationship. That's bullshit, and goes against everything my mother taught me. And your brother? Ansley was genuinely asking if Saint and I were clones. He was finagled into the pretense, which he hated at first. But he's married. Bobby drummed his fingers on his desk. No, we're not faking a relationship, Ansley. At least not right now. No, we're not faking a relationship, Ansley. At least not right now. Stephen is a professional and will clean up his act, correct? Sure, I muttered. Now I was pissed. I wasn't going to be paraded around like some prized toy or beast in a circus cage. Just so I know, she continued, who is the girl? Someone I should worry about? Is she someone's daughter that was sent to lure your beast into the open? What? Is that something people do? I was shocked. Bobby huffed. You have no idea. With the number of haters, there are some groups resorting to the lowest of lows to try and obtain proof you're killers, including using women. Why women? Because when you decide a person is your mate, you'll kill anyone who dares touch the woman. Bobby was almost flippant. The look on Ansley's face was anything but. Wow, I had no idea how deep the politics went. This girl is not some plant, okay? She was nice enough to have a drink with me, and this moron decided to put his hands all over her. I couldn't allow that to happen. Playing a hero. Nice. That definitely would boost your image, she continued. Whether or not they believed me, I wasn't certain I cared. When the two of them looked at each other, I shook my head and laughed. You're not using her in some crazy social media game. That's not fair. She didn't ask to be a part of my life. In fact, she doesn't even like me all that much. Trust me, her words were not kind. They shared another look, as if they would They shared another look, and it was as if they'd had all this planned out. What's her name? Bobby asked, and there was no doubt by the flash in his eyes he was playing a little game. A lot of people considered me an asshole. Others considered me arrogant, like the beautiful woman I'd been lucky enough to spend time with. And I'd done some shitty things in my life, including leading women on. However, I wasn't a total asshole. I didn't get her name. Besides, she doesn't live here. She's in vacationing with friends. The visible disappointment was disturbing. Meanwhile, I was determined to keep Christine protected. Oopsies. Meanwhile, I was determined to keep Christine protected. As expected, Ansley's heavy sigh was annoying. Okay then, we'll use a different tactic. I'll email you some notes including the rules of engagement as required by the team. We'll chat once a week to ensure you're on track. She headed for the door, sashaying her hips as she did. When she had the door open, she barely tipped her head over her shoulder before tossing out another barb. "And if I see you doing anything mischievous, I will call your ass on the carpet. Don't make me do that." Unable to help myself, I mimicked her words silently as she walked out, my body entirely too animated. Bobby chuckled. "Don't let her get to you. She's not a bad kid, she knows her stuff." "Yeah, whatever." Exhaling, I rubbed my eyes, the ache behind them more pronounced than before. "I'm not going to fake a damn relationship. That's not who I am." "I understand. I really do." "Are we done? Because my roommate informed me I need to find another place to live pronto." "Ouch. I might have a lead on a little rental house. It's owned by a friend of mine. Cute place. I've been inside. Anyway, I'll send you the address." "Thanks, Coach. One more thing. There's a big game coming up in 2 weeks." "Oh yeah?" He nodded. Why was it that a sly grin drifted across his face? "Against the Chicago Wild Dogs. My brother's team." I knew I'd have to compete against him, but from what I'd seen, that wouldn't occur until much later in the season and after I had a chance of getting my shit together. Fuck. Yeah, the schedule was changed. Don't ask me how or by whom, but I can guess someone pretty important had influence to make that happen. There are already some rumors flying about the two savages meeting on the ice. Bristling, I could feel an entirely different level of anger furrowing deep inside. They're pitting us against each other. They're pitting us against each other. You bet. What better ratings? And my guess is the powers that be hope your sibling rivalry will remain intact. The look on his face indicated something much more sinister was going on. What aren't you telling me? He shook his head. I just have a bad feeling someone or some entity is hoping the two of you lose your cool. As you might imagine, that is very disconcerting for us, including the team. Oopsies. As you might imagine, that is very disconcerting for us, including the team owners. Meaning that we'd breach all protocol and shift in front of an entire world of people, so they could make good on their claims that we were nothing but uncontrollable beasts. Fuck. This was all just a game, and one I wasn't good at playing. Don't worry, Coach. I'll be ready. So will my brother. So will my brother. After all, we are professionals. Hell yeah. Man, this is the quietest TikTok day I've had in my life. That's it. We're going to call it there, though. I got a busy day. Got a lot of things to do. A lot of things to do and stuff. Thank you, people, for being here, even though it was the quietest thing in the world. We'll be back here tomorrow. Tomorrow. I'll read for you tomorrow. It's only a day away.